Welcome to the Win with Dice podcast. I'm Calvin, sitting here with Ramon, and we are both members of the Win with Dice YouTube channel. Just starting something new or continuing something we were doing. I don't know, just a chatting podcast, chatting about whatever comes to mind. Ramon, do you want to say hi and save me from my own awkwardness?
No, man, you're doing a good job.
Okay, I mean, I'll take that compliment. I won't deny that.
I know it's like okay. I recently started like watching stuff on Twitch, I guess. Well, specifically, I just started watching Matt Koval's crap on Twitch because he hasn't been posted on YouTube.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I need to get my fix in. So like, I like that the just chatting I guess logo or whatever that's for just chatting stuff. It's like some random Cajun girl with like a mug of coffee, and it's just like just chatting. Like, that's the image I think of every time I hear just chatting.
Oh, okay, so that's what you want to project, like us just chatting, just shooting the breeze.
Because the other podcast that we had, the Around This Table, was supposed to be kind of like a gaming focused stuff, and I just wanted to get away from that, just kind of like broaden our perspective. Like, even though games are a big part of our life, like I don't think about games like all the time. Like, yeah. So we probably will be talking about games like in the podcast.
Oh no, we will probably circle back to games at some point. I mean, yeah, I would like to maybe do something where we bring in maybe an audience or something for that, but that would, I guess, be a Roundest Table kind of thing. I do see Roundest Table as a table with multiple people, more than two at least, probably more than three. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Like, I don't know. What have you been doing, like, in the last forever since we've recorded something?
Well, speaking of games, so, I mean, we have been, talking about a Mutants and Masterminds game. I think on the channel, so far we have the one episode of Mutants and Masterminds that we recorded, based on Sentinel's lore, as it were. We have other episodes just, in the bag sitting there, and I've been going back and forth a lot on what the next one should be. But other than that, I mean, mostly other RPG stuff. I started a new campaign.
Oh yeah, I wanted to just hear about that. Like, I was kind of excited about it. Although, like, I was kind of jealous because DMing for people that's not me. So...
Yep, that's... Yeah, man. You're in like how many of my games? You're in the superheroes, you're in 2 Starfinder games. I don't think I've ever DM'd for you in Pathfinder. Or I might be in, I don't,
which is the game that I probably play the most. Like,
yeah.
Pathfinder.
Like for me, because I want to play superhero stuff, I want to play space stuff. So like if I want to play something different, I usually have to run it, or I have to like brave other groups online, and I don't know. I've realized, and I've gotten totally off topic of what I was going to say about my new campaign, but I've realized how lucky I've been to have mostly or exclusively played with people I'm already friends with. Because there's a lot of people who don't have that group, and I've been like super fortunate to be like both in college and then out of it when we first started playing Pathfinder, however long ago, when I just based my character off a video game character that I liked at the time. I've been able to play with people that I know or people that I'm friends with, and even with my new campaign, it's people that I knew online from Twitter who I was friends with for a very long time who were interested in playing. So just the idea of like reaching out to new groups of people, going to like some Reddit or Discord or whatever, or on some other social media platform or something, and just being like, hey, looking for a group or looking for a GM or looking for players or whatever.
That's like so nerve-wracking. Like, I feel like you just log in for the first time, and you're like, are these people going to be a bunch of weirdos? Is like one guy going to be really awkward? Like I think that like it's weird. I feel like there should just be like a Tinder or something, like a dating app for like finding a group where you can just swipe left or right if you a paladin or something.
I think there is. Oh gosh, I think I've heard something new like that. It's like Roll or something like that. That might be close to that. But yeah, I mean, it's just in general the idea of like I don't know, I gotta like meet a new group of people. I gotta introduce myself to this new group of people, and then be a character.
Exactly, right? And you're already trying to like get those levels of like, you know, trying to do banter with people you've never met before.
Yes, that's because like with one of my other groups, it was mostly people I knew, but there were a few people that I didn't know initially, and it was a little awkward with them at first. I mean, I eventually got to a more comfortable point with them, just because I found something in their character to sort of either like riff off of and stuff like that. But at first, it was a bit awkward. Just again playing with someone that I didn't know, and then it's like I don't personally have a banter with this person, so I got to banter with them like through characters, as it were.
And it's weird because you don't actually know them as like a person. Like you just know the character that they play online, right? So like when you say like, you know, you're really fortunate to be playing with lots of friends, I think it's because like, you know, at least like, you guys can talk about something else when stuff is like, you know, going off, or like it's a good starting point. Like I think that people should think of like their gaming group as like just like their general friend group. If you don't have that and you're just like, oh no, I only hang out with these people because I play D&D with them.
Yeah, I think that's limiting. I think you're gonna. I mean, maybe it'll work for some people. I don't know every single tabletop RPG player in the world, so I can't say that for sure. But I do think you need to be able.
Why is the YouTube channel so shitty?
Hey, it's just slow.
I'm kidding.
I know a lot of people. But yeah, no, it's I don't know. Like I've been looking, and I'm sort of in another Discord group, and I'm supposed to make a character for them to play a game in, and yeah, so I'm hoping they'll be cool. I've been trying to be more active in that group. They watch Critical Role, so I've been like chatting with them. Well, not really. I've just been lurking on Discord when they chat about it, which is close enough, I guess.
How you like big friends in the real world? Like you just kind of like hang out. That narrow you so far, and then someone's gonna be like, "Hey, man, I see you around."
That's how I've made most of my friends. That has not changed since like high school.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, you had asked me like 10 minutes ago about my new campaign I was doing.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, I think we were talking about this like a few minutes ago before we started recording, about like where you get inspiration for ideas from. So for this group, I was kind of struggling with what I should do. I was looking at like pre-made campaigns, but like it's only 2 people, and then it was like I'm gonna have to not only adjust this to Pathfinder 2, which we're playing, but also adjust it for only 2 people. So I'm trying to figure that out, and I ended up not figuring anything out except for a vague idea, which was just to rip something off. So like for when we were talking about those other games, when I ripped off like different video games, for this one I kind of ripped off The Last of Us, in that it started with them accepting a job or getting a job to deliver a package. And they were just told at first, yeah, you just got to take this package, deliver it to this location, you'll get paid, yada yada. But then when they go to pick up said package, they realize, oh, it's a person. And it's just like, it's like this young gnomish girl, they got to deliver her. They discover she has some special power, other people want it, and they're in danger as they trek across the world, yada yada.
Yeah. The MacGuffin with a face. An attitude.
Yes. I was really fortunate with that game, though, is they've come to like the character. So that's really good. I'm wondering how much I should say about this. I mean, sure, I'll go into a smidge more detail. Like basically the character, I was trying to think of something to do with her that might be special, that's something people might want. And I just gave her the ability to see the future, sort of. Like if she touches someone, she'll see the moment of their death.
Do they know that?
Yeah, they found that out the hard way.
I think that like you should probably put some spoiler warning in case they're like listening.
Oh no, they know that already.
Okay.
Like first session, because she had this companion who was with her who was like, you have to deliver the girl, and at some point she had touched him, and then she saw, oh no, something bad was gonna happen, and then something bad happened to him. I did have a fun time because she when like one of the players had like carried her away from a battle, so they did end up touching her, and then I had them on a ship for a while, and then I was specifically with that player. I was saying like anytime that player went like close to the edge of the ship, this character would give them like a really nervous look.
Oh,
and they were really on edge for the whole boat ride, which was just kind of fun to do for me. But yeah, like I was really happy that they liked the character and that they were invested in their own survival.
Yeah.
That's
cool.
Yeah, I've been like with NPCs. I've been, I don't know how to describe it. It's just trying to find one that people like, and sometimes it doesn't always happen the way I intend. Like with this one, they kind of start to like her because she's very like shy and quiet, forceful when she needs to be. But they've come to I don't know. She's adorable in a way. I'm trying to figure out like the word to describe it.
It's called an emoto. You have to protect the little sister.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's pretty much it. Yeah, that's kind of what they've come around to. I think that's sort of why they kind of like her.
Best girl, you gotta protect best girl. Or give her love and head pats.
there have been head pats, but there's also things with like with our Starfinder game where you guys decided that you liked Price.
Oh yeah.
It's like I still can't process how that happened. To be honest, because he didn't even have a name when you first met him. He was just the train guy.
You know what it was? I think it was that where you, in my mind, kind of like, this kid has no clue what he's getting himself into, and I was like, maybe I could just convince him to tag along.
Yeah.
But, you know, and you kind of played into the whole point where like Price is like kind of an idiot, but like, you know, he's like super naive and like didn't actually realize the implications of helping us, you know, because he's like a good person. Like he's just, you know, he's a good dude. You know, he helped us escape from a prison planet, and we're like fugitives, and he's like now wrapped up on his bullshit.
He dived in head first into a very deep pool.
I know, it was great. I loved it a lot. Like Price's hilarious comic relief.
Yeah, I've been trying to figure out. I think so far this most recent NPC is the one where like I try to get players to like an NPC on purpose instead of incidentally.
I think like all of my PCs are like all of my NPCs are incidental. Like I don't think anybody. I swear, like sometimes like it's so strange. Like I always trying to get like the cool NPCs to feel cool. Mm-hmm. And no one really thinks they're cool.
Well, no, I don't know if I mean, I can only speak from my perspective, and like I would say for a cool NPC, I don't know how much our listeners would know about your home games, but like you have like in the home game, like we're exploring this new land, and one of the people in charge of that sort of mission and sort of like the person in charge of the Adventurers Guild, really specifically.
Bowman, right?
Yeah, Bowman. So like my character, because she wants to be an adventurer so badly, she's sort of formed this like sort of she sees him as this father figure, and like so for me, I think he's cool because I'm bringing a lot of what my character is seeing into the scene. But yeah, I mean, I think he's supposed to be cool on purpose, right? He has that armor hung up in his office that's cool as hell.
It was all of that. Yeah, it was trying to be cool on purpose. It was kind of like the idea of like he is like you guys, like, you know, 10, 20 years in the future, right? Like you guys are like the young Padawans. He's like the Jedi Master. He's like, I've seen a lot of shit. Now it's like he's the mentor figure, right? That was the idea of the guild master to be. I think I would just rip that off of like whatever. I mean, like Fairy Tail probably has the thing like that where all like the guild master was like this old dude who doesn't really look like, you know, and he's like super strong and shit. Like that was the idea of it.
Yeah.
That anime trope. But like it was good. I think I knew about your character's idea, like from your backstory about like how like your character didn't have that much from like your dad and stuff like that. So when that kind of paid off, when you're like, oh man, I gotta impress this dude because, you know, he's everything I want to be, I was like, oh yeah, I should probably have this dude, you know, Baldwin, be like, okay, Mason, you have like a lot of chops, like, you know, you can definitely take over, right? So he's like taking under your wing and stuff.
Yeah,
know,
like instantly, like just father figure projecting all of that onto
but like
this character.
no one else gives a shit about that guy. it's just your character. And then I thought it was hilarious because one of my favorite characters is Suki, right?
Yes.
when Suki showed up and was like, listen, you're gonna be my master. Now I have like 3 generations of people like, master trainer kind of thing where it's like, now Macy has this other like younger guild member under them, like looking up to him, but you're still trying to look up to Bowman, and Bowman's just looking, you know what I mean? It's hilarious, and I love it so much.
Yeah, Macy has her own Macy is my character, by the way, for our listeners who obviously aren't in our home game. Yeah, I've kind of got this. We've got this interesting relationship formed now, and I've actually been I really liked the what you did with the whole followers thing, where like we have these characters who are following us, and I know you gave me a bunch of them on purpose because I'll care about every single one of them.
Well, it's okay. So yeah, because like in my wife's game with like you and like Payne or Rebecca and stuff like that, right? In that game, like I gave you a ship full of like 4 dudes.
You really did. You really gave me a whole bunch of guys.
Oh man, it's so different. So different too between the 2 games because like you guys like in our regular home game, at least the Pathfinder game, I kind of call it Pathfinders of Inion. So the Inion game is like. It's like really much about like business, and a lot of the people are there just to like kick down doors and slay monsters. Other than like you, Calvin, like you get there and just knock the shit out of whatever onion salesman, this cart of onions or cabbages, like 4 hours about this dude's life, and you'd probably be pretty content.
Yes. Yeah.
But like like you take that and then multiply it between like all the players. Like I swear you guys have more fun in the bakery shop in the last game that we played than like doing anything else in that session.
Yeah, it's a thing that I don't know, I don't want, like, now that I'm overloading with topics, but this might be another one, but it's a thing of like differences between groups and stuff. In that, like, the one group where we're like the Inion setting group or whatever you want to call it, like the one where we're exploring this new land, we're discovering these mysteries, we're fighting these monsters and stuff. It's got a very different vibe from the one where we're more exploring like populated areas, but that group is a bit more goofy, as it were. And fortunately, my character for that, like, she's a pirate, so she's a bit looser with the rules than Macy is. So. Which is really good because that group is very they're all new players and they're all very like how do I describe, like, they're not set in certain tropes, adventurer tropes. So
you guys are actually crazy ruthless. Like you guys are both groups are pretty ruthless, but in the terms of like a lot of times it's like 3 out of 4 of you will find a solution with violence.
Yeah,
it's like it's not like we're in a combat. We're just literally having a conversation, and we should just kill that guy, right?
Yeah.
Why are we wasting this time? And then one of you is like, no, that's pretty stupid, and everyone's like, yeah, you're right. Like,
but what if?
Yeah, it's just kind of like one of those. It's
like just it's different groups having different vibes. Like even the size of the group can affect that in a way.
Like arguably. To be fair, arguably, like I get really stressed out for running your pirate gang group more because I know you guys want to like have a lot of story. I'm stressful because if it doesn't have enough talking, like I feel like you guys don't have that much fun. If there's not enough combat, like your characters are basically murder machines. So if it's not a murder, then it's the point. And then it's like if the story doesn't progress fast enough, and you guys kind of muck around doing the things that you guys don't really want to do, like going to bakery shops and stuff.
It was like a nice bakery.
Well, I mean, you guys can grind grind the pacing of a plot line like to a halt because you want to talk to somebody for 4 hours.
Yeah,
you're cool with that. But then as soon as like a fight gets too long, you're like, nah, we should just leave.
I mean, yeah, it's just a difference in the group though, because I like the other our other group, like they've been playing this game for a long time, so combat is something that's maybe of more importance there. So we will do a combat like for a particularly long time. Like I think, what was the one where Macy almost died and almost got thrown into hell?
Oh yeah, well that was like the big boss final finale of like the
whole dungeon thing that we were doing,
right,
yeah.
like of like the act or like the end of the story or called chapters, like the end of the chapter. Right?
Yeah.
And,
so yeah, like it worked well for that group because we sort of lean more into the combat of things, and we find drama in the combat still. Like the combat is still part of the narrative of the game itself, so there's still going to be those tense moments of, I mean, maybe even more so, there's still going to be those tense and dangerous moments of, oh no, I might lose my character here.
Which I don't know. I hope they still have that fear in you people, because I don't try to balance anything.
Yeah, no, I still have. Maybe like in the other game with my pirate, she doesn't really. I worry slightly. I mean, I don't know if I say less about her because Macy's pretty buff, but she's a rogue, so I don't know. I'm not too worried about her getting hit. Macy, I'm not worried about her getting hit because she has the hit points for it, and then my pirate, I'm not worried about her getting hit because she's very light on her feet.
Right.
But there's still like I find our combats. I find like whenever we do combat, I still find it like very narratively interesting.
Okay.
So, just to compliment you, I do find our combats very like narratively interesting.
Man, I'll take the compliment. I mean, like I try kind of hard to make sure, because combat to me is like the thing. Like, encounter design is what I am good at. If you put up my skill chart as a DM,
yeah,
and like, you know, it's like the biggest bar. Like I can't. If I had to run a game, a system that had no combat in it, I don't think I know what to do. I would just be so lost. Like I don't know how to make a mystery game fun.
Yeah, because you want to like throw something out there that the players can. Yeah, I struggled with a mystery for another group that was. I don't know. Should I lean into this thread of talking? I don't know what topic we're even on at this point. Should we talk about mysteries and RPGs now?
Sure, whatever. I mean, like if it's on your mind, because like I am interested.
Oh, okay.
I don't know how to do it. I've molded over several times, and like even so, I mean, I don't really watch a lot of like RPG related content on YouTube too much, other than like lore and stuff like that, or you know, someone went through a monster manual and it's like talking about it because like, you know, it gives me ideas, right?
Yeah.
I think for the only only channels I follow is like Matt Koval, because I think that guy really kind of rekindled my fire for like tabletop RPGs. That dude just has like this. It's just like again, like this old kind of like Jedi Master Padawan thing, where he's just like, yeah, man, I was there. I grew up in the industry. Like this is how it is.
Yeah.
And like, and it's like he brings a lot of light to stuff that I was not aware of, or like, you know, a spin on stuff because of his longevity in the industry. And like him, and like I think Taking 20 Cody, like he's pretty good too. Like I like his content as far as it goes. But like I think that like even he said like running a mystery or like a heist or something like that isn't just like, oh man, you need to this bad guy, right? You need to kill the thing with math. It's like just difficult, and there's nobody to do it other than just doing it.
I mean, yeah, like the first I ended up running, I guess, 1.5 mysteries. The first one being how do I describe this? Like they found, it wasn't supposed to be a mystery. They kind of like they ran into this little girl in the middle of a forest in the middle of a house, who was 100% a vampire. But at the time, they had brought along this NPC cleric with them, and when they had found like this random vulnerable girl in this random house in the forest, she was trying to be protective of that girl, so they didn't really like get to interrogate her too intensely. But they brought her back to a small town that they were near, and then they were asking around if anyone knew about how come this girl was in this house and what happened at this house and blah, blah, blah. And that managed to go on for longer than I thought it would have gone on. So I was able to, like, details they would have just, like, been able to figure out, like, very quickly from very quick discussions suddenly became a thing they were trying to solve. And, you know, fortunately for me, like, we took a break, like, right after, because there was a combat before that happened. I think they were fighting, like, a ghost or something. And we had taken a break after that. So, like, we were just having a barbecue, we were eating food and just chatting before we went back to play. And the whole time, I'm, like, eating my burger and, like, what the hell am I going to do with this little girl? Oh, my God, I don't know what to do. This wasn't part of the plan. So, fortunately for me, I had, like, 20, 30 minutes to think of something. But the next time, because they said they really liked that, and I was like, yeah, I did it on purpose, all for you.
You never take them behind the curtain. You know, don't reveal any of your tricks. You know, we'll do it on the podcast. It's fine. So playing our games. Don't listen. It's all lies. We always think 5 steps ahead of everyone, and we know what everyone's intentions before you even know it yourself.
Every DM is a genius. But yeah, so like that was, I guess, the first mystery, but they really liked it. So I was like, okay, how do I do this again? Because they were also getting a bit restless inside the small town that they were in. Like in game, they were there for a week or so, which ended up being like maybe 1 or 2 sessions. So they were kind of restless with it. It seemed like they wanted to be in like a bigger city. So it's like, after they helped out with the town, they went back to the larger city where our campaign started, and it's like, well, how do I throw a mystery at them? And you know, like with any good RPG story, you rip it off of something else. So I did some research into like other mystery modules, and I found an old one from an old D&D magazine, and I can't even remember the name of it now, but it just involved like a series of murders. And then I basically I stripped it down to the bare bones, the bare minimum of there's a series of murders occurring over however many days. These are the clues here that were left behind. Because I don't think I'm smart enough to think up new clues, really.
Yeah.
But I stripped it down to like, here's some murders, here's some clues. I took out like all the like story details and stuff like that. And then I subbed in things that were either already existed in my campaign setting, or new characters that I had to make. So like some of it was just changing names, some of it was changing people entirely, some of it is like the first victim of the murder is someone who owned a general store that they had visited, right?
Yo, my friend is dead.
Basically, like, because they were going back there just to see if other stuff related to like the main story of the campaign. So they were going back there, and then that's when they come across the first murder. And in the original module, like, it was something entirely different. I think they were like I don't even remember what they were. It was just something entirely different. But like when I started it, I was like, I took the plot points, like how like the murder happened and the clues and stuff like that. But it's like instead of being whatever it was before, now it's the store owner, right? And then from there, I just added new details. Like, instead of the next being this guy, it's this person who has this connection. But some of the clues remain the same. So like for me, a lot of what I do is just sort of like standing on the shoulders of what already exists. Yep. Like, I'll take a concept or a story and like that I liked, or one that I think works, and say, well, how do I make this fit with what I have? I don't know if I've ever. I honestly don't know if I've ever run like just a module or anything like that on its own. I've always tried to adapt it into something that I have. Like, even the first time, I took the. Oh gosh! Wow, my brain is not working with me today. That one module with a bunch of troglodytes in a tower.
The troglodyte tower thing. I know that one.
I took that, and I was like, they're fighting their way through this tower, but the tower had a really interesting shape, and that was like 4 towers smushed together. So I just kind of added it to my world campaign setting, and I said, yeah, there's actually 4 different towers similar to this one at the northeast, south, and west of the major city you're in, and you're in this one, and there's something going on in here.
Oh, okay.
which is sort of deviating from the topic of mysteries, which is deviating from whatever topic was before that. But yeah,
so this is a prime example of how most RPG campaigns go. Like, it just doesn't matter. Like let them bounce around, wander in the forest somewhere. They'll get to the plot eventually. Like
they really do.
That's what I like about like When We Dice podcast. It isn't the roundest tables where we're not like so focused on a topic. I mean, maybe we'll go back to the roundest table when we have or something that we can hone in on a topic. But like I kind of just kind of like recording.
Yeah, just riffing and stuff. I think maybe we can use the podcast for like just chatting about things and have roundest table for when we have several people and maybe a more centralized topic, because I don't even remember what we started talking about in the first place. We've deviated far too much. But yeah, no, like for mysteries, honestly, I would just like look up one that has a story that you like, and or something you can just really strip down, because like I knew what I couldn't figure out with the mystery, which was the clues. I couldn't figure out what to tell people that wouldn't give it away, but would give parts of it away, right? Yeah. Right. So like I just looked up a mystery that had clues, and it's like, okay, I'm gonna take all these clues, and by merit of taking the clues, I have to take how the crime occurred, because otherwise the clues won't work, right? So I had to take series of murders happening, and then just adapt to that. But other than that, like I could dress it however I wanted. I take the cake, I scrape the icing off of it, and I put my own on, and then I say I made this.
Look how good it is. I mean, like I don't even think I take the icing off. I just kind of take the label off the box. Get the Sharpie and like I'll just take the Sharpie, because like all of the games, well, except for I think because of pirate campaign, like you guys are all really interactive role players. You guys really insert yourself in the world and really kind of take the narrative pressure off of me, which is great. It's tons of great things happen because you guys are like, I bet this character, you guys just invent your own NPCs, and it's amazing because you guys will be like, yes, that person totally exists. I'm gonna go talk to them right now.
Yep. That's again a difference between the groups. Like that group will very much like take the steering wheel away from you.
Yeah, it's crazy, and like I love it, and like it's the first time I ever experienced that, because like I just never thought that somebody would just be like, yeah, my character's cool enough to just, know somebody like this. Yeah. It's like, yeah, you're right. You're totally right.
I'm sure there's systems and stuff for that too, that you can like mechanically make it a thing, but it's really fun in that group that just the stuff just happens around them. Like they just sort of take control of the narrative like that. But I do also like our other groups where like we're like you have more control of the narrative, and then you give us these really interesting combats to go through.
Well, for the Inion game, it's I don't know, like I feel like it, and I definitely insert like, so I've been trying to like run a couple I've tried to play what's that one Iso adventure path with the one with Sandpoint in it. Probably all has Sandpoint. It's a Rune Lords. Yeah. I swear I've started Rise of Rune Lords at least 4 times, and like do it because I played through it. I thought it was like it was really good. Mm-hmm. like throughout the whole campaign, like I thought it was great. We had a spectacular finish. Like the DM that I was running, it was great. Like all of my friends that we're playing with in one at a time, because during university, and those people in Waterloo, and it was a blast, man. Like, we played through two big adventures like that. It was that one, and I forget the one in the pirate town, the Drow.
Oh, that one, I have no idea.
I forget what it's called. I think it's Starstone, something. Either way, anyway, that thing was great. And shout outs to Davin. Oh my god, Davin, you're like the greatest DM I've ever had the luxury of being a player in your games, because he's amazing. Oh. It's like I've never been able to run one of those things. I don't probably, next time once COVID is all done and over, maybe I'll reach out to Davin, because I think you'll like him. He's a cool dude. Anyway, it's like I don't think I've ever been able to run one of those things. I feel like we always start, and I just, even though everything's already prepared for me, and I just literally have to turn the page, just never get through it. Like, never get through it.
You like I don't know if you have the same issue, but like you want to do your own thing, right?
Yeah, like I feel like it's like pressure is on if you try and do a thing because you want to do it right, right? Like,
yeah,
I'm always trying to like recapture something that I've experienced from somebody else DM, and I'm going through the same stuff. But it's like if it doesn't go the way I think it should go, then like I get kind of frustrated with it, right? It's same way with so that one. Then there was Red Hand of Doom. I heard really good things of Red Hand of Doom. I read through that thing, and it's awesome. And I think everybody should probably check out Red Hand of Doom. It's like, I don't know, it's a great adventure, I think. But we only got like so far in it, and but you know, now I could take. The point of this rambling is I'm taking a lot of those parts that I like, and are just shoving it into my campaigns now, and stitching it through. Right, I get to have those moments. That I wanted to have anyway in those structure settings. I'm just kind of like, you know, like all of the whole part with the goblin fortress or whatever in India, like all that stuff. That's just straight from the Rise of Runelords. Like it's just like the first adventure, like that ending part where you fought the Bargas, like at the end, right? That's just the adventure. So I just kind of just took that.
Yeah.
It was pretty exciting and pretty fun. So I don't know. That kids, just YouTube guys. I don't know what to call you guys. The audience.
Oh gosh, what do we call our audience members?
I don't know.
Our winners with dice. I don't know.
Yeah, all you winners out there. Just rip shit off. Take it.
Yeah.
Polish it up. Change some of the names. Change the characters. Insert whatever kind of lore or whatever you have, and then just give it to your players, and they'll probably be like, "You're amazing."
I do think though, like when I talk to people who maybe haven't DM'd yet and want to, like a lot of what they worry about is quality. Like, you know, how do I put this? Like, you don't have to worry too much about it being. Like, don't worry too much about it being good. Like, God, that sounds weird to say. Like, don't stress over it though, because actually something you told me ages ago that I still remember is usually the players just want to, like, they made their characters do cool things, they want a chance to do the cool things their characters can do, and like just give players those opportunities to, like, don't worry too much about like trying to make it the greatest story that anyone's ever heard in their entire lifetime, because it will still be that just by merit of other people playing in it. Right?
Exactly, like, right. Yeah, it's just kind of like trusting your players to. You just set up the scenarios where it's like let's say like you need your big brain wizard to figure something out. Give him the opportunity to be a big brain wizard, or like, oh man, there's like a rogue in the party, and he's like, oh, you better go steal that thing from that heavily fortified castle or whatever, right? And then it's like, yeah, I want to do that because that's what I made him for, you know. And just kind of setting up those opportunities and letting the players just take them, and they're not going to remember that part where you kind of forgot this one section or like the name of this NPCs. They're going to remember all the spectacular moments anyway. That's all I remember. Like, I don't remember the low points at all.
That's like, now that we're on the topic of advice for new GMs, they're not like, your players are there to have fun. And I mean, again, like I'm speaking from the position of having been able to play mostly with people I'm already friends with, but your players are by and large there to like have fun. You don't have to worry like excessively about I mean, you do have to create the fun. I'm trying to figure out how to word this, but like you can trust your players to have fun, right? Like you can trust them to say like what they'll enjoy doing and them looking for an opportunity to do it. You can trust that they won't remember that time you had to go to page 256 because you forgot what ability you forgot how fast this creature moves it around. They're not gonna like hyper focus on that. They're gonna focus on the killing blow of that creature, or when it struck them and they almost went down, and then someone else came and saved them, and then like they'll that's what they'll remember more, at least in my experience.
It was like, it was so funny. It was like, so I like when we the very first time we actually had like a D&D campaign going, like
oh, sorry.
Oh yeah, I was getting a phone calls.
Oh, okay.
Real professionals around here.
Oh, totes.
It was the first time we were really starting to play D&D, and we were playing 3.5, and my friend Steven was running his campaign, and we were just kind of like mucking around. And then I remember like played, I think it was like a basilisk or something. We all almost got turned into stone. 100%. And we were like trying to be like this cool, adventuring company or whatever, but we like just kind of like bad at it.
Yeah.
In terms of the game, like we were trying to be like the A team, but like we weren't the A team. We just kind of bumbled through stuff, inadvertently did good on the way. So and we all almost got turned to stone, but we win that fight. And then we just decided to name our guild called, or adventuring party or whatever, the Order of the Stone Phoenix, because we might not get it right the first time, but we'll definitely keep trying, right? Like
that's what that meant. I've heard, I feel like I've seen someone on Facebook say that, and I was like, "What are you guys talking about?" I wasn't.
Oh yeah, yeah. One of the benefits of playing with your friends is reference shit, all the internal jokes and stuff.
Yeah, that's why, like, if you are trying to join another group, just like, I don't know, you should probably do other stuff with them other than just play RPGs.
Yeah, build that relationship. It's gonna make playing Dungeons and Dragons or Pathfinder or stuff
whatever
better, man.
Yeah, whatever you want to play. Yeah, I mean, I guess we've kind of both said the same thing. Like, for new GMs, like, I think with new GMs, like any sort of, I mean, it is public speaking in a way. Is just worrying too much about like being good at it immediately. Just I don't know, trust that your players, they want to have fun, they're gonna find a way to have fun, and then you'll have fun too. Basically.
It's like learning any skill. Everybody's kind of crap at it until they start doing it. You just have to get through those growing pains, and all of a sudden player's gonna be like, wow, that was awesome, I can't believe we did that. Right?
And then you can sit back and say, yeah, I did that on purpose.
Right, and then that's the juice that we're all trying to get as DMs.
It really is. It's so like, for me, it's been super fulfilling whenever someone says like they had fun, like playing with that new group of people, and after the first session when they said they had fun and they wanted to play more like right away, and I'm like, yeah.
It's like,
even though like a significant amount of it, some of it was on the fly because I had like the broader strokes of everything, and then I had to like, I mean, that's DMing, right? Like, you have the broad strokes and then you have to figure out some of the details in between. And yeah, I mean, like people still have fun with that. And I think like if I had played the way if I ran the way I ran my last game, the same way I ran my first game, I don't think like first time DMing Calvin would have like panicked with not having enough notes on every single thing that could have possibly happened, and having every single creature like immediately right, like I had like printed out every single creature, I had it on paper so I could like go to it if I needed to. And now I'm a little bit no, I mean, obviously playing online is very different, but now I'm a bit looser because it's like, it should be sort of this difficult, so I'll give it sort of this number. I'm not as loose as I'm not super duper loose with the numbers, especially playing a new system. But I'm a little less concerned with getting the exact accurate specific like hit points of a monster or something like that.
Oh yeah, totally. Like I'm a pretty loose DM in terms of like monsters and numbers and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I often just literally take the raw stats of one thing and then add it to, like, I'll just take the abilities of another thing and just smush it together. And then possibly just decide like, okay, this thing has an energy beam attack.
Yep.
It does, I don't know, this looks pretty good. I just grab some dice. Like,
yeah, we'll do this.
These D6s, and it's like, and then I'm like, it's charging up his lasers. Everyone's like, what? It shoots lasers? And it's just like, the dice in front of them, and you just go Maha.
I mean, yeah, this is a little how the sausage gets made kind of thing, but it's really like in one campaign, like I had players going up against like they were fighting their way through some stuff, and I had them going against like it was supposed to be like a boss creature. So I took the creature from the monster manual, or the bestiary actually, or bestiary, however it's pronounced, and I gave it like it had how much HP, 50 or 60 or 70 or whatever, and I was like, nope, it's gonna have 100 HP now. And it was supposed to be super difficult. It was kind of a sort of a difficult fight. They were fighting in a small space against a huge creature. But then like one of the players, the barbarian, they were raging, or they got a crit, and someone had put magic weapon on the weapon or something. So they did a whole bucket load of damage, and they took this creature down, and like it was like its health had already been reduced, and they just did more than enough damage to like instantly kill it. And it was this exciting moment still. Even though I had like taken the creature and totally changed like the numbers on it, it was still a fun moment for the players.
Exactly, right. And they probably thought that was epic. Like they probably don't even know anything. They're like, that was crazy. Oh my God, the barbarian power feels like a real champion. Like you know,
yeah, total badass.
Like, why would you want to like you play a barbarian so you can kill things with big mats, right?
Exactly.
Like bigger mats than your barbarian could probably actually do. Like,
I have been also personally, just to speak personally, is I've been trying to make my combat encounters in all of my games more difficult. Like I did a Mutants and Masterminds game a few weeks ago with a couple of our friends, Deanna and Camille, who are also in other Win with Ice content, so be sure to check that out. I just did a quick game with them, just like that ended up putting them versus mind-controlled other superheroes. Particularly Power Girl, who was like a Kryptonian. So yeah, I just threw them against the Kryptonian, and they figured out a way to sort of subvert the fight. And also in my other group with the new players, they had gotten through some pretty tough encounters. So I decided to just throw a couple of hellhounds at them for a moment, which were might have been a bit more difficult than they could handle, but they were still able to like come through that battle, and it was a pretty close one. And so like just throwing this thing at them that like probably according to the book would have been over leveled for them, just breaking those rules is totally fine because you signed up with these fun moments.
Right. And like, man, like I gotta tell you, like hellhounds in Pathfinder 2 are great. They're like actually a really solid choice for DMs.
Yeah,
like the CR like you don't like, especially with two of them, because they're like immune to fire, and then if they get hit by fire, they get to recharge their flame breath. So you could just
that flame breath. Oh my gosh.
You could infinitely chain them together, right? And it becomes like let's say if you playing some veteran players, they're gonna be like right,
yeah,
right. And then even with like new players, like it's like hellhounds just have like that kind of like you understand that a fire dog breathes fire. Like it's just like such a good thing. I like using hellhounds.
Yeah, because they had just run into some wolves, and then it was like, is there more wolves? Nope, it's wolves that are on fire. Oh man, but that flame breath attack, because it recharges every like D4 turns, and they were one turn away from getting completely annihilated, but they managed to. I mean, like that was it, because I would describe to them like as like I rolled the die to see how many turns it would take to recharge, and I would describe to them like you see the fire inside its mouth start to get like it dimmed after its first attack, and then you see the fire in its mouth start to get brighter and brighter, and then I was like, it's almost as bright as it was when it first got here, just to let you know.
I just thought of like really in this moment, a great way to describe your players how long it would take for it to recharge. I mean, I guess you want to keep it secret, but I think it'd be kind of cool if you gave like the Hounds or fiends or beasts, one of them, whatever they are, whatever the congruent.
I think fiend.
Yeah, so you could have it so like player can roll their recall knowledge or something like that, but you could have it so there's like little fire vents, like like in Pokemon they have little fire spurts on them, like from like their main or whatever. Yeah. You could have it so there's like, because it's D4, right?
Yeah. So
you can have like like when it's fully charged, there's like 4 flames or 4 flame gouts, right? And then when you roll it, you can see like, you notice that it has 2 of its flame lit. Every turn it charges up a little bit more. Yeah, so you could be like, oh my god, what's the flame bending on? Oh god, it's at 3. We're screwed. You know, like, I think that's a way of like, you know, telling your play, like adding that aspect of like, oh man, because you know I am a wizard who studied, you know, fiends, I can then prepare my group to do a better job at fighting these things.
Yeah, like that's just like a way to communicate things like that are mechanics, but communicate them narratively. I wish you had told me that like 2 weeks ago, because now I've established how they work in this world. I can't like put flame spikes on them, or maybe I can.
Well, you could do that. You could do it with like Big Boy had hellhounds and necessities, like pretty.
Oh yeah,
like
the hellhounds. Maybe I could. Yeah.
You could give him like 4 tails, and then every time one of the tails light up,
and then oh my god, then you know it's gonna come for you.
Yeah, that's pretty dope. I'm really good at stuff like that.
You totally are though. It is like there is a certain like having to communicate sort of like that bridge between game and narrative, where you want to try to communicate something that's like a mechanical thing, like a creature recharging its ability a certain number of turns, but also trying to make it like make sense in a narrative, because like your character doesn't know what turns are. Your character just knows that 6 seconds happened, and some things got hit and some things didn't, and some things got hurt and some things didn't.
Exactly. And like I never really understood the mechanic of like recharging an ability if it's not like a magical or whatever. Like a dragon's fire breath, like I don't know if a dragon's fire breath is magical or is literally just fire. I guess it has to be magical because like lightning breaths.
Yeah.
You can't really,
I mean, it's like
it's lightning.
It's expelling some sort of energy. I guess it has to like try
gather
to
it up
do
again,
that again.
right?
Yeah.
And it's like, how do you say that, or like how do you narrative, like add it into the narrative, or like
yeah, like that's the thing of like how do you make it not like, I mean, because like I don't want to be too gamey about my game. I want it to be a story, right? So like I don't know, like they're just trying to bridge that gap between the two. Especially like what I like to do is try to describe things. I don't know if I do it like enough or all the time, because sometimes I like when I get like later on into a combat I sort of let it slip, but I try to describe like someone shoots magic missile or someone swings a hammer. I try to describe it hitting and the impact and stuff like that, because I don't want it to be just like you roll a 20-sided die, add a number, you hit, roll a 8-sided die, add a number, you did that much damage, moving on. Like I want to establish that you rolling that 20-sided die is you lifting your arm and swinging your sword. You rolling that 8-sided die is you impacting the creature between its armor and drawing blood, right?
Right.
Right.
And,
yep.
I know, and I like the tendency of more leading towards saying like if you rolled really low, and you know that thing, I sometimes I say like you completely miss and like whiff or whatever. A lot of times I think that's what people visualize. It's like, oh man, like I rolled a 2, so you know I just oddly swing and miss. Yeah. I like the idea of saying that your opponent or whatever the combat, like after you try and strike it, like it's the one skillfully dodging out the way. Like your character isn't the one that is physically challenged or whatever, and it's like I'll swing over here. Like no, it's like that your opponent, like everyone's so good, and you guys are all fighting so intensely that like it's like a dance, right? It's like it's really just you guys going back and forth, and it's like really, because I remember one time it was one game we was like 4 rounds of like the big bad guy, like she had like bastard sword who had 2 attacks, and like just gave her like, because one of her hands had like a claw thing as a shoulder blade, like just like the fingers, and I was like, that thing definitely juts out is another attack. So this chick's getting like 3 attacks with like a demon sword and a demon claw. I guess it's holy paladin, right? Yeah. The holy paladin sitting there like taking the damage, taking the hits, blocking the stuff, but they're both just missing. Right? And every time one of them gets a hit, the other one just kind of heals up a little bit, and we did 4 rounds of just intense dueling. instead of describing it as like, you know, a bunch of people whiffing all the time, it was like, no, it's like deadly combat. Every time you strike with your sword, she blocks with her sword, and then Claw reaches around and you raise your gauntlet and block it, even though she like rolled like a 7 something, right? It's like just keeping up that, like, you can get the dice, like you can get the game even though your dice are telling you one way, to like to have that tension still. Any moment, if there's enough of like a combo of attacks, like any character could go down, right?
Yes. Yeah, like I mean, it's like just like describing missing as either impacting off the armor or totally whiffing. Like like you want to communicate like those dice you rolled. You want the dice to impact the story, right? Like we've you know our luck with skill checks. And I had some other groups that were like a very similar thing. I had a chase scene that was a bunch of skill checks, and they didn't start off very well. And at the time, I was like, because it was for the end of it was for like close to the end of the mystery game, and I was like, is my murderer gonna get away? Because like you want to let the dice tell the story. If you're rolling, you want to like let them, again, it's a mixture of like the mixing of the game with the narrative. You want to let the dice you're rolling tell part of the story. Like if you have a character who's constantly like whiffing on stuff, maybe they're starting to feel frustrated or something.
Yeah, definitely. But you know, you can still make that character feel like that player feel good about it, right? Nobody likes to miss.
No.
It's the worst feeling when you're just like, I'm sorry guys, I'm just not here.
Yeah.
You know,
just not here today. I did have an NPC in one group, and also for our superhero game, I just had an NPC that was like constantly rolling low, and they weren't like an incompetent person.
Yeah, right.
They were just rolling low.
Yeah,
that's not that we're on the topic of mixing game mechanics and narrative. Our 10th topic of the day. We are closing in on an hour though, so I did want to put like a time cap on this. So I'm trying to figure out like what we should like close off with as far as talking about things goes.
Well, if this is like the first episode of a new string of podcasts, we got a lot of stuff to talk about.
Oh, clearly. I thought we'd be talking for like 20-30 minutes, but it's at like what, 58 now. So clearly we do have a lot of stuff that we can talk about. And I mean, for our listeners, you know, if you want to just drop a suggestion of a topic in the comments or on our socials, we're on Twitter at Win with Dice, we're on Facebook Win with Dice. We have an email, we have a website, winwithdice.ca, because we're C-Adian.
We're America's hat.
Yeah. Or there are pants, you know.
I don't know. I'd rather be the hat.
So, instead of wearing pants?
Because it feels like, you know, U.S. is our responsibility because they're our pants. But you know,
no.
Okay. We're their hat.
Okay, I see what you... I guess that's better then. Gosh, yeah. So, in the interest of not like starting a new subject and then rambling for another 10 minutes, like yeah, I think we covered a lot of stuff today. Hopefully, people find that interesting, and hopefully, you get some sort of insight on what it's like behind the DM screen. I'm sure in the future we'll talk about more things other than just specifically tabletop gaming. That's just sort of like a significant interest for both of us. So if you want to see more of that, just subscribe to us on the YouTube channel. Bring a ding that bell so you get notified every time you upload a new video. Or if you're on some other platform, just subscribe. Who knows where we'll be in the future, to be honest. Yeah, just give us a like, give us a shout out, drop a comment if you want, if you have any sort of topics that you want us to talk about, and we'll catch you next time we do one of these. Ramon, you want to say bye to the lovely people out there, our winners.
Bye, lovely people, our winners. Yeah, bye, lovely winners.
All right, folks. Thanks for listening, and we will catch you next time. Bye.